It's a brand new day. I'm so glad. Whoops! The dog's pulling. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, my name is Jill. Today is our Friday kind of catch-up overview, comments, whatever that we do here on Survival Road. So it's not a formal talk. It's just let's catch up. And it's easier for me to do some of the comment and feedback here than, on the comment section. So with that, we're going to show you a little bit about what's going on around here. Spring has sprung a little tiny bit, but boy, we haven't gotten any rain. It is drier than you know what. So it's supposed to rain this weekend, fingers crossed. I know some of you guys are getting hammered, but it is bad for the land and the cows and the wildlife when there is no rain, and we are dry. So with daily shore back to water. The things I wanted to talk about today are great comments. When I put up that video about the what am I doing on YouTube, I was really amazed at some of the feedback that you guys give. It's interesting to me what in the whole video you choose to comment on. I think that's a very, very interesting observation, but really nice stuff. So I want to say I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to feedback and really, sharing a lot of yourself, which I think is pretty impressive here in this crazy social media YouTube universe. So thank you for that. And I want to address some of the comments about no, just stay the way you are and don't change. And so there's a couple of things around that, and this is really, I think, a reflection of the bigger picture that I'm trying to have, where there's the content and then there's the form. So content is who I am, it's my truth, it's my bottom line, it's my beliefs, things like that. That, I'm pretty comfortable with, and I change as I need to change around that. Form are really things like, the tone of voice, the speed with which I talk, the music, the editing, the concepts in the video. So that part is, to me, pretty flexible because that's the lesser of the two things that are important. And so I do value your feedback, even when it irritates me sometimes. And that's good because, you get frustrated, you walk away, you think about it, and then you can come back. And I have just discovered some really interesting stuff that's sort of snowballed from looking for one thing and getting how YouTube goes, right? Or in the internet, and you go from one thing to the other. So I believe that's how we make better self, and how we make better relationship, and how we make a better world, is the ability to listen to what you don't want to hear. And here's the key for me and the therapist is if you hear something and it makes you angry, then that's challenging a belief system. So it might be something that you want to actually pay attention to a little bit. If you hear something and you have no emotional reaction to it at all, then it really isn't challenging you. And, it's sort of like, and I put that under the context of, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, needing to be right. And I'm talking about some real general things, and occasionally I'm throwing out some not so general things. And, some people get frustrated by some of the information, and that's okay. I listen to a lot of people that I don't like because, and there was a comment about Tucker Carlson, and, I don't watch Fox News. I don't listen to him ever, but I do appreciate that he has massive resources to compile facts and put it together in a very concise, tight format. And that's easier than me spending, hours and hours and hours looking all kinds of stuff up, trying to give it back to you. So I think that's an important part of us becoming better with each other, is the willingness to listen even when we disagree. There's certain people that I just have so little respect for. It's hard to listen to, so I totally get that. But in general, I think it's important to be able to find a way to listen and take it in and then choose from what you want to deal with it. So that's my philosophy, and that's how I think I say this in everything I've ever written. So if you've read any of the books, you probably have seen it in there. But this is what I learned a while ago. I learned that it was only when I was willing to know what I didn't want to know about myself that anything in my life had any kind of significant changes. And that came from observing other people who, right, like everybody else can see what's going on, with you, but the person can't see it for themselves. And then it sort of occurred to me one day that, well, if that's true for everybody else, there's a really good chance that might be true for me. And I got to tell you, that was one of those significant moments. While unpleasant as an ongoing journey, really provided the basis for a lot of my ability to change myself in ways I hope that have been better. So it's the willingness to look at what you don't want to know about yourself. If you're not sure, just ask some people who know you pretty well, and they'll be able to tell you what's obvious to them, but may not be so obvious to you. And if it pisses you off when they tell you, then there's a really good chance. And to me. And so I'm totally cool with flexing this little bit up a little bit. Now, I will tell you, I'm also having some really interesting creative ideas. So, oh my God, we're already at 7 minutes. I'm also having some interesting creative ideas that might require me to be creative in the video, which you probably won't like, but I am excited about. So I'm going to probably be doing that. But I will warn you before you watch the video so you don't have to watch the video. Since I know some of you don't like my music and editing. But hey, I do, so my videos, my channel. The next thing I wanted to bring up was somebody asked the question about politics, and this is the same answer of why I would never go back into politics. I would never go back into traditional therapy, because what I've learned is that when you try to create change at the level of the system, nothing really changes. It's the person and the people that create the systems. The systems don't create the people. And while it seems really simple, it's fascinating to me that more and more science is really reaffirming the obvious, like living in community, social connections, getting sunlight, deep breathing, exercise, not sitting too much. All these things that civilization and society has done to create pretty negative effects, you can't change those things at the system. And one of the reasons, I'm reaching out in this way, and it's, to me, so valuable, even though, it's just a little YouTube video, is that it is us. It's us creating the systems and the changes within ourselves, and then our primary relationships, and then the world as a whole. And really, most people aren't going to do the world. Most people just are going to do community, and getting involved in your community is so important, and which is one of the reasons why I want to find a place that I want to live long term, because I want to be involved in my community, but it's not here. So that's really, to me, the power of not being in the system anymore, is that massive change always occurs within ourselves first. And my lifelong quest for myself and for others is what motivates us to change. And I think that nobody has the answer to that. I don't know what that little switch that gets flipped when all of a sudden you say, I'm willing to look at what I don't want to know about myself. I don't know. And sometimes we never flip that switch. There's certain things I never want to look at, I'm sure, just like you. So with that, and so the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm not even going to do that. was going to talk about one more thing, but I'm already way too into this. So with that, I'm going to say I hope you have a really lovely weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to post a video this weekend or not. We'll see how it goes. The creative stuff is way more time consuming than just the thinking. The thinking stuff I can do while I walk around and do chores and stuff. The creative stuff takes more organization and planning, even though it makes me happy. So, all right. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for sharing this time with me. I am enjoying us learning together as we evolve this process and move it forward. So with that, I hope you rise with the sun in your eyes, love in your heart, feet firmly on the ground, because we are walking, literally walking on Survival Road, one step at a time. So that's it for today. Live free and die wild, my friend. Whoops. I will see you next time.